The recipes I'm going to show you suit white beans particularly well. It's going to be the coziest imaginable everyday soup/stew with white beans, which I absolutely love. Rustic style, kind of very filling and warming and just divine. Also two types of canapes, bruschettas, crostinis, call them as you like, which are great party starters. And also simple, elegant salad with white beans, which is great for any occasion.
I like cannellini beans or butter beans. I have an amazing beans here. I've bought them from a specialist shop. Once cooked, they're absolutely huge, very creamy and fluffy and very, very fine. The beans are almost done, so we can start making soup.
I can add a few bay leaves to them. I don't think they would actually add particular taste. They do look very pretty once the soup is ready. Eat half of that big onion, half of that big carrot. Probably this large stick of celery is enough, but I like to pull those strings from celery. It's easy. See, we don't want them. Celery in tiny pieces. Celery I definitely want to taste but never see. So onion I chop in large pieces because I don't want to see celery, but I quite like to see onions. Okay, so we're frying our celery and onion at the same time. The carrot I'm going to chop in a big chunks like that. So I quite like to, in this instance, have few big pieces of carrot. We gently saute everything, no burnt bits or brown bits, please. I will also add the thick parts of the parsley. Chop in small pieces as well and fry them tiny bit too. Put everything in. Good for cold chilly kind of days like we have now, wintry I would say. And a little bit of oregano goes here. Not much, oregano mine is quite strong herb, so add a little bit. Instead of oregano, I could have added dry thyme. I think they're quite interchangeable in this occasion. So again, very little. I use all the cleaning our pan like that. Little bit of water from the soup. Add a little bit of green bits of
onions. Those I use in cooking rather than eating them.
Right, for color really.
I like thick soups, and this one is more like a stew really. Some beans fell apart, but it's okay. It just makes the whole thing even more creamy.
All what is left to do is to add those two very large cloves of garlic, last 2 minutes before switching off. Cut them in a long, largish sort of pieces. Cozy everyday beans. This is how this recipe is listed in my recipe notes. Now, very quick salad, super simple and elegant. Quickly rinse them as I would do tinned beans. A little bit of onion, as long as it's finely sliced. So separate your onions, rain them on top of your beans. Parsley, chop it as fine as you can. You can use other herbs to your taste. Coriander, why not?
Use potatoes instead of beans.
Right, capers. I have a large, very large capers berry. It's quite fancy, but if you make this salad for sort of special occasions, that will go very nicely. So I have quite like say a handful for this amount. I chop them in two. If you don't want to use capers, just do extra lemon juice for the soury note. Right, capers go in. Black pepper here, or lately I've discovered those Aleppo chili flakes because I like to see these pretty red specks of them. They do add subtle heat, I would say. A little squeeze of lemon juice. Right, olive oil, generous amount, generous. They really absorb kind of oil. You can't have too much olive oil here, really. And it looks so pretty already. So if you make the same kind of salad out of potatoes, of course, your best choice of herb here is dill. Dill and potato. That's a classic combo. That's it, it's done. I'm going to do two types of, I like to call them canapes, but I think you can call them bruschetta, crostini. So the cornbread, which is, I've bought it because of the color, and the ciabatta loaf. So with your sharpest knife, try to make maybe 1 centimeter thick slices. I would do. If you making a big amount of crostini, it makes canapes. Makes sense to put them in the oven on a tray to toast them. If it's only small amount, probably toaster will do. This is what I'm going to do now. Day-old bread is the best, but this bread is quite fresh, which is not an advantage right now. One day old bread is easier to cut in those neat slices. So I have around 300 grams of our beans from the batch I cooked. So what I'll do, I'll put two cloves of garlic. Next batch, let those cool. Yeah, beautiful. A bit of olive oil to help it along. The beans were salted as they were cooked. And the same for the salad, I forgot to mention that. Yeah, also those red chili flakes, which are very mild. Squeezing some more lemon to help it along. It's sort of creamy because I've put lots of oil there. Lots of oil and also a little bit of heat there from those chili flake and the lemon to keep the color and for subtle sort of sour note here. And of course garlicky, I forgot to mention garlicky too. Super. So now we're ready, it's a fun bit, we're ready to assemble our canapes. Remove those extra burn bits ever so slightly. Okay, so I'm going to put some oil on the bread. So the best way to spread this oil, just with my fingers, which are obviously immaculately clean. So I drizzle each of them with a bit of oil. Pile the topping on. We don't want them to be smooth. Kind of more attractive, I think, it's if it looks a bit kind of untidy. The beans came out very creamy and kind of subtly flavored, I would say. We're still gonna put some sharp tasting things on top, which would make it look pretty as well as taste delicious. So lots of oil in that beans.
Don't skimp on oil here because it makes or breaks the topping. Pile topping generously.
Okay, so two different type of bread and two different toppings we're going to make. Bread, ciabatta, which is ideal actually for that sort of, because you get that really neat kind of slices, neat size, just perfect for canapé. I like ciabatta. So those beautiful stoned black olives, I just cut them in two. Make sure your olives are stoned. But of course, to speed things up, you can use what they sell as sun-blushed tomatoes. They're quite pricey though.
Easy to make similar yourself. Cherry tomatoes are often tasteless, but if you bake them, they'll become very sweet. 10 minutes in the oven at 180 and then switch oven off and leave tomatoes in for maybe half an hour. These timings work for the small amount, like mine.
Chop parsley, small amount of parsley, tiny bit here. as fine as we can.
Sprinkle parsley on.
Right, our bacon cubes, they're divine, warm at the moment, because this cubed bacon, I removed the most fatty bits with scissors. I mean, the reason we use this bacon, not only because it's a classic combo with beans, we were looking for a pink color, and the actually fatty bits not only bad for us, they're also just white. So I fried it for quite a long time to crisp them. I think it looks so mouth-watering. Do I dare to say that? Yum. Really filling. You don't need anything else with this soup. You can drizzle it with olive oil, which I do. You can do parmesan because it's kind of Italian kind of taste. Grated parmesan. I would put some, maybe a little bit of grated cheddar or feta, whatever is going on, right in a soup. This bowl will keep you full all day, I guarantee. Creamy, fluffy.